Roberta, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to your talk. You will be talking about how partnerships can propel the whole InsurTech field forward, right?
Indeed.
And what we need to do to collaborate better and
Absolutely.
faster and some speed.
Absolutely.
Very much looking forward to your presentation and to your insights.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. You will hear me echo a little bit what you have heard from Patrick, Martin, and Mike. I'm going to give it another angle, but this is what you will see, hopefully, if I click the right button, which is not necessarily always that easy. Now, we always hear about we're in a new world, paradigm shift, this, that, and the other, right? We have said it so many times that it has become mundane and such a matter of fact. But indeed, this is the starting point of everything. Because some of you, not all of you, some of you like myself, when we were out and about town or whatever, and we needed to talk to our mum or dad, we would have to find a phone booth and call them. And they could not call us any time of the day or night as they pleased, right? Whereas today, the world is different. Once upon a time, our report cards, we would bring our report cards physically home to our mum and dad after school, whereas nowadays, our mums and dads, they can check the report cards on their mobile phones. So indeed, it is a different world. And this is the reason why everything is changing. So with a different world and different behaviors, different needs and different necessities of us as individuals, as people, all of the industries are changing. Hence, the insurance industry as well. And the insurance industry needs to keep that pace with our needs and necessities. So there are new risks, as Martin has touched upon earlier. There are new opportunities. And there is a new way the industry is looking at insurance. Before it was mitigating or dishing out money, more or less. Now it's actually trying to prevent the risk. There's a lot going on in that direction. So insurances are actually slowly, not necessarily changing the business model, but adapting. And this is key. There's another aspect as well, which is the last bullet point over there, the regulatory. Contrary to popular belief, regulatory is not a bad thing and is not a hindrance. In certain instances, and I mentioned PSD2 and PSD3, which is opening open banking up to other aspects of finance, including insurance, it's pushing us to move ahead. In the banking industry, we've had also instant payments recently kicked off here in Switzerland. I was about to say Singapore, sorry. In Switzerland, August of this year. So actually, regulatory is not only a hindrance or a protection, it's also encouraging us to go ahead and embrace the new world. Now, as in other industries, incumbents not necessarily have the force to take upon the new challenges. Not necessarily they don't want to. In some cases, of course, they're a bit shy. In other cases, it's too difficult to change the way this huge boat, this huge ship, navigates the waters. So there is a need to look around and see what's out there that can help. And indeed, in Switzerland, as you can see, 75% of the insurances, they deem digital transformation as a key strategic focus. This says a lot. There is a will in addition to a knowledge. Now, at the beginning, clearly, the digitalization and also, let's say, the initial partnerships with Insurtechs were mostly around distribution channels. And this has had actually quite a good impact. We can see that 40% of consumers in our markets have purchased insurance online. That's a huge number. But that was the beginning. Because now what is happening is that the easy bit, i.e. the distribution, that's a commodity. Nowadays, what we're looking at is actually improving all of the value chain. Well, not all of it together, but the value chain. And also optimizing the processes, so internal efficiency, and so on and so forth. I will not delve into that. The echo to the previous speakers is that investment in the InsurTech domain is not only crucial, but is actually important. And you can see that amongst the 50 largest incumbents, 31 are indeed actually investing in Insurtechs. Data which is not on the slide, but I'm going to tell you about, is that, as I think, Mike, you have mentioned, there had been a decrease in investment due to physiological occurrences within the market, the rates, et cetera, but we have seen there's been an increase in activity, right? So what has happened is that investors have shifted their focus to deals below 100 million. So there are more deals, but of a lesser size. That's right, isn't it? You agree with me? Yep. So these are official data, but it's good to have this understanding and this agreement. This is very interesting because although the cost has risen, the activity has risen as well. Size lower, but the activity is picking up. And it's in Q3 2024, we've had a quarter-upon-quarter increase of 33% below 100 million. So this is all super key data to bear in mind. It's not on the slides, but it's data I'm happy to share. From foes to friends. At the beginning, it was difficult for incumbents to understand, to recognize first and foremost, and understand the positive impact Insurtechs had. When I say at the beginning, I'm recalling maybe 10 to 15 years ago, when I was in London, and the Insurtechs were starting to be recognized as such, fintechs and Insurtechs. I was advisor in an accelerator program, global, and partner. And there was, this is public information, so nothing to hide, I can say this. Zurich Insurance was there, so I was collaborating with Zurich Insurance, Swiss Re, Munich Re, Intesa, and this was many years ago. And those were the first days where the incumbents were exploring the partnerships and collaboration with Insurtechs. Fast forward to today, it is transparent that whereas the incumbents have the market domain, the market share, intricate understanding of regulatory, intricate understanding of the dynamics of the market, the Insurtechs have the necessary flexibility, agility, the unique ability to be on top of the end customer's need, which is very particular to the Insurtechs. And they can both benefit from collaboration. B2C was still is, the most challenging domain for Insurtechs and insurances to find an actual partnership. At the beginning, it was more difficult. Now it's easier. B2B is where actually it is immediately visible for both parties to understand where this partnership can be mutually beneficial. Because, for example, the Insurtech can bring in a little small something on claims, which can be plugged into the insurance. And so that's easy. Then we've got B2B to C, which brings together a bit both worlds. But it is crucial to understand that this is the way to go. And throughout the years, it has been evident, not because people have been talking about it, but because the numbers have proven that actually the impact is positive. The domains, the partnerships are active in have moved from the distribution to claims, to services, so on and so forth. But definitely, it has been recognized how the meeting of the two has an impactful resonance with the public, with the end user. These are effective examples of partnerships, which I'm very proud to share. Proud because two of these are members of the Swiss InsurTech Hub that I'm representing on stage today. So Helvetia has recently collaborated with Connect around the risk evaluation. Baloise has a plethora of Insurtechs they partner with. They have a whole program going on. And of course, Zurich Insurance has we collaborated many, many years ago when I was in London, but they have an amazing program within, I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with it, and they have partnered with our member, Quanti, very recently as well. This is to say that whatever is thought about the difficult relationship between an insurance and an Insurtech, in reality, this is actually happening. I promise I clicked. There we go. Crucial, and here I'm going to connect with what Mike has been saying before, and not only, and Patrick also, ecosystems are very, very important. Why is that? The incumbents have a strong structure, the organization, they are established institutions, they know the market extremely well, et cetera, they have the market share. As I said before, the Insurtechs, they have the dynamism, they have the understanding of that specific need, and they can address it relatively easily relative to the insurance. But they need a third-party connector to make things happen very often. It does not happen that often if there's no introduction. It's a bit like once upon a time in medieval times when you had the person matchmaking for weddings and something like that, or I don't know, Tinder nowadays. I don't know, I don't use it. But you need an enabler. You need a third-party connector who understands the needs of the one, the needs of the other, the potential of the one and the potential of the other and introduce them. Why? Because incumbents, the insurances, although they do have the appetite, they're massive. And they have a very structured organization. So to be able to go out and shake hands with an InsurTech, it not necessarily is that easy. I was in one. It was my job to do so. But of course, there were a lot of steps, and it was a structured process. The InsurTechs are faced with a huge organization. Who do they go to? You can go on LinkedIn, of course. Try to decipher what title that person has and where in the organization is that person. Head of whatever, is that the right person? No, because then they're in the minor structure. They don't lead to any, they don't have a budget, right? Yeah. So this is where the ecosystem comes in, enabling magic to happen. It's crucial. Not only, echoing Mike again and Patrick, to make things happen, we need collaboration. To make this happen, we need an ecosystem, and Swiss InsurTech Hub is one of these parties, but not only. Look at everybody who's here, look at who's organized this. We also need regulatory that has to be focused on the end user, on us, basically. Protect us and accompany the industry to go towards and address and meet our needs. But there's a fourth item we must not forget, which is investments. Without money, nothing can happen. So we need a healthy investor community, angels, VCs, PEs, CVCs. Let us not forget CVCs, corporate venture capital. These are key ingredients. Startups and Insurtechs are a key factor to move and support a very traditional industry to address our needs as consumers. So as a whole, we have to support Insurtechs and startups and spin-outs and spin-offs and help them engage with the incumbents who have an appetite for this, and help these Insurtech startups, spin-outs and spin-offs survive the valley of death, the first few years, because they need to burn money to be able to do their magic. So, the others were all photographs I took from Unsplashed, and I credited each and every photographer. This is a selfie of myself with my little robot. And this is looking at the future. I am not going to repeat what I have said hitherto, but I hope I have transferred the message of the importance of Insurtechs and startups in our industry, and not only. Because another thing that I would like to add, no matter where the startup is, whether it be a fintech, an Insurtech, a health tech, no matter what tech, it is also thanks to these specific startups that there can be a cross-industry reach and integration, and hence an increase in market. Once again, startups are fundamental in the growth of the market, and it is our duty to support them and help them support incumbents and vice versa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roberta, for this super powerful message. Now, let's see if we received some questions for you through the slide. Oh, no, don't go away. Don't leave me alone here on stage.
sorry.
So I would feel so lonely. Let's see. Here we go. So let's see how much insurance business in Switzerland is still done via traditional offline channels, and why?
The majority. So the insurance business is done via traditional offline channels a lot. Why? For a number of reasons. So there is a change in the industry, clearly. We are plugging in the digitalization and the online. Insurance as an industry is a step within the financial services is a step back compared to banking a few years. So banking is advancing and insurance is stepping up. You cannot digitize at a snap of the fingers. So between the acknowledgement and the acknowledgement of the right direction and the actual execution, it's a long way to Tipperary, because you have to convince stakeholders, you have to secure budget, you have to do so many things. As I mentioned, as I showed you, the incumbents are changing, and as we have seen I think in Mike's presentation, there's a lot going on in terms of startups and also Insurtechs. It takes a little bit of time. We need to enable it. So we know what we have to do. We know the direction we're going. It takes some time, and we have to keep that momentum going. So be trustful. I'm very trustful.
And maybe let's take the second one with a very short answer. How ready are Swiss incumbents to collaborate with Insurtechs on the value chain? Claims, underwriting, internal processes?
Yeah, some incumbents more, others a bit less. It also depends on which area of the value chain we're looking at. For example, engagement with clients or CRM or claims. Claims is a big area right now. For the insurances, it's very difficult for insurances because it's very expensive for them, the whole claims process. So that's the easy way in. Of course, all of the security side Martin mentioned, but that's across the financial services. So it depends on which area, and not all incumbents are the same. It depends also on the pressure, the competition the incumbent is feeling. If they feel they don't have a lot of competition, they take a little bit more time.
Thank you so much, Roberta.
Thank you very
Ladies
much.
and gentlemen,
Thank you.
give it up for collaboration in InsurTech and Roberta. Thank you.